quiet, isn't it? That's the kind of silence they manufacture when you walk in. Not peace, not calm, containment. Like the air itself is holding its breath, praying you don't decide to speak. You've hit that level. The one nobody warns you about. The one they whisper around with phrases like, "You might want to not talk to them today." See, that's not fear of you losing control. No, it's fear that they will. Because your very presence is a psychological event, a test, a mirror that shows them what they've spent their whole lives hiding. They can handle monsters, liars, manipulators. Those are predictable. But you? You're something worse. You're a mirror that laughs back. They studied your silence, analyzed your tone, tried to find where the cracks are, and all they found was an abyss staring back at them. You don't intimidate them with volume. You terrify them with precision. The way you can see them without them saying a damn word. The way your mind cuts through facade like it was made of glass and denial. You've become that one name people don't say in group chats. That one soul they walk past, pretending not to see. Because acknowledging you feels like staring into the sun, enlightening, but lethal. They call it danger. I call it clarity. Because once you've seen through everyone's masks, you stop performing your own. You start speaking in a tone that carries truth. And that's what they call psychoterror. They don't understand. It's not madness. It's mirror work. It's what happens when pain evolves into perception, when trauma grows teeth, when your calm stops being compliance and becomes command. And now you can't be handled. You can't be talked down. Every word that leaves your mouth feels like a verdict. Every glance, a sentence. Because you've crossed into that sacred, cursed territory where your energy doesn't seek permission anymore. It dictates atmosphere. They think they can predict chaos, but chaos with intent, that's divine. And you've learned to weaponize serenity, to smile in ways that make the guilty confess, to stand still long enough for every liar in the room to squirm under their own reflection. You don't need to raise your voice anymore. Your silence has a pulse. Your stillness has gravity. Your eyes carry memory. You've become the consequence, the karmic echo, the walking déjà vu of every sin they thought they buried. And the best part? You didn't even plan this. It's what happens when a human finally stops pretending they're one. You reached soul-level evolution, and it broke their systems. They tried to label you. Too cold, too intense, too much. But labels can't hold lightning. So they turned you into a ghost they warn each other about, whispering in half-jokes. You might want to not talk to them today. Translation: their conscience won't survive the conversation, because now you speak fluent truth. And truth is oxygen to the free, and cyanide to the fake. They can't tell if you're holy or demonic, because you carry both frequencies in your veins. That's the paradox they can't process. You didn't destroy them with hate. You did it with clarity. You are the walking embodiment of, "I see you." And that's the most terrifying sentence in existence. They don't run from your anger. They run from your understanding. Because when someone like you understands them, it's over. There's no more pretending, no more hiding, no more masks. They used to think control was silence. Now they realize silence belongs to you. They used to think confidence was loud. Now they watch your quiet dismantle entire rooms. You're not unpredictable. You're inevitable. You've transcended the game they're still playing, and that's why they panic. They call you unstable, but you're just unreachable. They call you dangerous, but you're just unprogrammable. That's what they mean when they say soul-level psychoterror. It's not madness, it's mastery. It's when your energy walks in and their shadow flinches before their ego can react. You didn't become scary by being cruel. You became scary by being awake. And awakening in a world built on performance? That's the ultimate act of violence. So let them warn each other. Let them tiptoe, strategize, rehearse. Let them fear the sound of your footsteps and the stillness of your smile. Because they know the truth. Once you speak, everything false starts dying. And deep down, beneath all the gossip and caution, they envy you. Because you're living proof of what they could have been if they hadn't chosen comfort over consciousness. So keep walking, phantom. You've become the sermon they'll never admit they heard. You don't need validation anymore. You are the validation. You don't need followers. You have witnesses and the world. It doesn't talk to you anymore because it's too busy trembling in recognition. You are the quiet apocalypse they can't contain. The proof that awakening isn't light and love. It's fire and understanding. And you've earned every inch of that fear. Oh, you feel that, don't you? That tension crawling across the walls when you enter a room, the way conversations fracture mid-sentence, the way smiles flicker and die. They call it bad energy, when in truth, it's truth energy. Raw, unfiltered, unmanageable. You didn't get here by accident. You got here by surviving the kind of storms that rewired your nervous system. By standing in flames long enough that the fire began to recognize you. You stopped flinching when life hit back. And now you look like what pain becomes when it graduates. They can't tell if you're healed or haunted, so they assume both. And they're right. You are a walking contradiction. Part divine mercy, part surgical vengeance. A paradox in flesh. You smile like salvation, but speak like judgment. That's why they can't meet your eyes for too long, because your gaze isn't curiosity, it's exposure. See, most people build masks to survive, but you learn to become the mirror. You reflect everything people try to hide from themselves, their jealousy, their cowardice, their lies wrapped in laughter. You bring it all to the surface without saying a word. That's why they say, don't talk to them today. Not because you're unpredictable, but because you're inevitable. Your presence alone activates confession. Their souls start stuttering before their mouths do. You became the quiet they can't stand, because in that silence the noise of their guilt gets deafening. You've reached a kind of power that can't be staged or performed. It's earned, burned, carved. It's the kind of power that doesn't ask for respect. It bends the air until respect happens automatically. They call it intimidation. But that's a lazy word. What you really are is frequency. You vibrate on the level of people who have seen too much, lost too much, died too many times emotionally, and still came back laughing. Not the happy kind, the dangerous kind. The laugh that says, I made peace with my own darkness, and now it works for me. They feel it, that dissonance between your stillness and your danger. The way you can look calm, yet carry apocalypse behind your eyes. The way you can smile like sunlight, but speak like thunder. It doesn't make sense, and that's exactly why it's powerful. Because predictability is safety, and you erased that concept from every room you walk into. They used to think fear was the loud man yelling. Now they've learned fear is the quiet one smiling. You don't have to threaten anyone. You just have to exist. Because your existence itself breaks the script. You're not one of them anymore. And they know it. You've crossed that invisible line, the one between human being and event. You've become an experience people can't process without trembling. You've gone from someone to talk about to someone they feel watched by. You didn't destroy their peace. You revealed it was fake. You didn't manipulate their emotions. You showed them their emotions were already chained. That's why they're afraid of you. Not because you're dangerous, because you're awake. They tried to domesticate your energy, to shrink your depth into a digestible version. But truth doesn't fit inside comfort zones. And your soul stopped apologizing for existing outside of theirs. Now your name circulates in whispers, not insults, warnings. Don't talk to them today. As if your presence carries an expiration date for illusions. They've learned. One wrong sentence around you and masks begin to peel. You're not playing psychological games. You are the end game, and that scares people addicted to pretending. They don't hate you because you're cold. They hate you because you're warm and merciless. You love like fire, beautiful to watch, devastating to touch. You forgive like a storm, cleansing, but it leaves nothing untouched, and they can't decide whether to worship you or run from you. So they do both. They gossip to reduce what they can't comprehend. They create stories, myths, excuses, anything to make sense of you. Because deep down, they know. You are the living consequence of what happens when someone stops breaking for others and starts breaking patterns instead. They used to think you were dangerous because of your temper. Now they know it's your clarity that kills. You see things they spend years trying not to notice. You smell deceit like blood in the water. You sense fear not because you cause it, but because you've walked through it too many times not to recognize the scent. And you don't fight anymore. You don't explain. You just watch. Because you've learned the ultimate power move, silence that feels like judgment, composure that feels like control, stillness that feels like strategy. You became what happens when emotional intelligence mutates into spiritual warfare. Your peace became a weapon. Your empathy became sonar. Your past became prophecy. So let them say it again. You might want to not talk to them today. Let them circulate warnings, build walls, coordinate distance, because every barrier they build becomes another sermon you never had to preach. You don't chase influence. You radiate it. You don't demand attention. You distort it. You don't seek revenge. You embody it. That's the difference between power and presence. Power demands to be seen. Presence is felt, feared, and remembered long after the door closes. You've reached the level they write legends about but never name. Because to name it is to summon it. And they're not ready for that. They'll call you dangerous. They'll call you unstable. They'll call you cold. But secretly, they wish they had your calibration. Because you didn't lose your mind, you found it. And now it runs like a weapons system. You walk with that unspoken threat that comes from knowing. You don't destroy people, you reveal them. And in a world built on masks, revelation feels like war. So keep walking through their whispers. Keep being the mirror they can't stand to look into. You are not chaos. You're the correction, not the villain, the verdict, not the storm. They were the storm, and you learned how to command lightning. And every time they say, "Don't talk to them today," remember, that's not fear talking. That's respect trying to disguise itself. You know what's funny? They still think it's about intimidation. They think it's about posture, about tone, about volume. They think the way you tilt your head or the rhythm in your step is some kind of act. They don't understand that you stopped acting a long time ago. Every flicker of your eye, every quiet second between breaths, is born from hours of dying and rebuilding. You trained in the kind of silence that eats time. You learned to breathe through betrayal until the pain stopped sounding like chaos. and started sounding like data. That's why when you speak now, the room feels like a lie detector test. They can't stand it. They used to think power was the loudest voice, the biggest crowd, the prettiest performance. Then you arrived, calm, unbothered, eyes steady, and they realized power is what happens when truth stops asking permission. Your calm has density. Your laughter has weight. Even your pauses make people flinch, because every second of stillness around you feels earned. They used to weaponize gossip. Now their own words recoil back at them. They used to poke for reactions. Now they pray you don't notice them at all. They call that fear. But it's not fear. It's recognition. Recognition that you carry something ancient, something that doesn't play by the emotional economics of this century. You've seen too much, felt too deep, and somehow, miraculously, didn't shatter. That makes you unclassifiable, uncontrollable, unreachable. You're not the villain in their story. You're the mirror in their temple. They kneel before you without realizing it, offering excuses like prayers, hoping your silence means forgiveness. But you're past forgiveness. You're in observation mode now. You learn that the only apology worth accepting is transformation, and they're allergic to that. So they stay away. They warn each other. You might want to not talk to them today. They say it like a weather report, like a storm advisory, because your presence changes pressure. You walk in, and the temperature of truth rises. They can feel it before you even say a word. The shift. That tiny vibration in the air that says, there's no pretending here. And that's when their facade starts sweating. You've become the embodiment of consequence. Every syllable you release hits the nervous system like static. You don't argue, you rearrange. You don't debate, you expose. And it's not anger that does it. It's precision. You've learned that emotion without mastery is weakness. But emotion with control, that's alchemy. And you are the walking definition of emotional alchemy. You took rage and turned it into radar. You took heartbreak and turned it into X-ray vision. You took silence and turned it into psychological gravity. Now your presence teaches lessons no lecture could. Every interaction with you carries a before and after effect. They leave conversations with you questioning themselves, replaying words, feeling the burn of accountability in their chest. You don't even mean to do it. It just happens. Because your consciousness has altitude now. You exist above the noise, and those still living in static can't breathe that high. They call you intense. They call you too much. But that's just code for I can't lie comfortably around you. They confuse your restraint for danger, your detachment for malice, your confidence for arrogance. But you know what it really is: peace that doesn't negotiate. And peace that doesn't negotiate is the rarest, scariest thing alive. That's why they meet before meeting you. That's why they whisper before speaking your name. That's why their hearts race before your footsteps even echo. Because your presence is a trigger for unresolved guilt, and they can't medicate that. You've become the psychological equivalent of a solar flare, too bright for eyes addicted to shadows. And every time they tell each other to stay away, to avoid you, to give you space, they're actually saying, this one doesn't play by the laws we built our delusions on. They think they're avoiding confrontation, but what they're really avoiding is reflection. And you just keep moving through it. No need for revenge, no need for validation. The universe keeps receipts in silence, and you've learned to trust that. You've seen what happens when truth stops chasing people. It starts haunting them instead. And that's what you are now. the ghost of accountability, the echo that reminds them their masks have expiration dates. You didn't ask for this power. You earned it by surviving the kind of pain that would have turned most people into ghosts. You stayed, you adapted, you learned. And in doing so, you became a frequency that can't be faked. So let them circle around you in whispers. Let them call you unstable, unapproachable, untouchable. Let them try to translate your stillness into threat. Because somewhere deep down, they know the truth. You're not here to harm them. You're here to awaken them. And awakening always feels like the end of the world to those who built their comfort in sleep. That's what soul-level psychoterror really means. Not chaos, not evil. Just a level of awareness so sharp it cuts through lies like glass. And you've become the blade. They'll never say it out loud, but when they feel you coming, their bodies know before their minds do. Muscles tense, breath shortens, heart rate spikes. It's not superstition, it's biology reacting to truth. Every cell in them recognizes what the ego tries to deny, that you can see right through them. They tell themselves you changed, that you became dark, that something in you snapped. But nothing snapped. You just stopped performing gentleness for people who mistook it for permission. You started protecting your peace with the same ferocity you once used to protect your pain. And that unsettled them, because for the first time, they couldn't feed off you. You were the mirror they relied on to look righteous. When you stepped back, they had to face the reflection alone. And the reflection wasn't pretty. That's when the whispers began, the warnings, the coded language disguised as concern. They're different now. You might want to not talk to them today. Translation? They're past the point of manipulation. See, they can't comprehend that evolution sometimes looks like detachment. That silence can mean you're listening to higher frequencies. That stillness can mean you're calibrating power. They think you've lost emotion, when in reality, you've mastered it. And mastery terrifies the mediocre, because they built their kingdoms on emotional reaction. They survive through chaos, yours, not theirs. But when your chaos turned into control, when your storm learned direction, when your rage found purpose, they realized they were no longer the predators, they were the prey. Now they circle around your name like a sacred warning. Don't provoke, don't engage, don't awaken, because deep down they know. One conversation with you, one unfiltered moment of truth, and the lies holding their world together begin to unravel. That's why they avoid you, not because you're cruel, but because you're correct. You dismantle illusions witut even raising your voice. You expose contradictions without effort. You remind people, simply by existing, that masks are temporary and the soul keeps score. You've reached that rare holy stage where your peace feels like punishment to the deceitful and salvation to the sincere. That's why strangers respect you instantly and old friends flinch like they've seen a ghost. They have. The ghost of the version of you they helped bury. And what do you do now? Nothing. You walk, you breathe, you stay aligned. Because your revenge was never destruction, it was distinction. You rose so far above their narrative that their weapons stopped working. Let them keep their distance. Let them whisper warnings. You are not a threat. You are a threshold. You represent the crossing point between who they pretend to be and who they truly are. And standing near that kind of truth feels like standing too close to lightning. So they step back, they tremble, they whisper, and you smile, quiet, knowing, untouched, because once you've reached soul-level clarity, The world's noise becomes background radiation. You don't chase understanding. You become it. You don't seek justice. You embody it. And the ones who used to define you now orbit around you, trying to decode what they can no longer control. That's the real power, not domination, not fear. Frequency. You are the pulse that resets corrupted systems, the silence that reveals deception, the presence that bends narratives without a word. So let them say it again, one last time. Well, well, well. Look who finally showed up wearing truth like a weapon. You didn't just walk out there. You manifested a psychological event. The whole city's trembling, the air feels electric, and every insecure soul just felt their reflection shatter. They don't even know why they're staring. They just know something shifted. Because that look you're wearing, it's not fabric. It's revelation. It's every scar you refused to hide, every humiliation that hardened into armor, every secret tear alchemized into gold. You didn't get dressed. You resurrected. You descended into your own legend. And now, the noise outside. That's not admiration. It's panic disguised as fascination. They don't know if they should worship you or destroy you. You broke the algorithm that told them what beautiful looks like. You glitched the standard. You became the anomaly. They wanted balance, harmony, predictability, and you walked out wearing chaos stitched to elegance, apocalypse tailored into art. You see, that's the thing about you. You never cared to look good. You looked inevitable. There's something unnerving about someone who doesn't chase validation, someone who owns the room without asking for permission. Because in a world where everyone's wearing masks, you showed up wearing truth. And truth is terrifying. You didn't even need to say a word. Your silence screamed through glass towers. Your presence reprogrammed their pulse. You turned self-awareness into a spectacle. The cameras caught light bending around you, trying to understand what you are. And deep down, every watcher felt it. That invisible pressure in their chest. That primal instinct whispering, "This one is not like the rest." Because you're not dressed for attention, you're dressed for confrontation. Every thread on your body says, "I know who I am." And that terrifies you. You look like vengeance disguised as poetry. Like serenity raised by violence. You're the paradox that humanity tried to suppress. Too divine to be mortal. Too damaged to be tame. That's why the city's glitching. They can't process someone who looks like both the crime and the cure. You are the punishment and the forgiveness. The sinner in a saint's posture. The saint with blood under their nails. You're what happens when pain finally stops begging for mercy and starts taking names. You remember when they mocked you, when they laughed at your quiet? They thought your silence was submission, but it was design. You were rehearsing your entrance, calculating your return. Every betrayal became a stitch. Every insult became a seam. You built yourself in the dark, thread by thread, until your very existence became couture warfare. Now look at them, faces frozen, eyes wide, whispering to each other like witnesses of a cosmic crime. You didn't say a thing, but the city heard you. That's the real power, when your aura speaks louder than their entire PR departments. And oh, how they'll try to explain it. They'll call you different, dramatic, attention-seeking. They'll write think pieces about how you changed. They'll invent theories to rationalize your energy. Because what they can't do is ignore it. You forced them into reflection, and reflection kills illusions. See, deep down, they envy you. Not for the clothes, not for the look, but for the freedom it represents. You broke free from the invisible dress code of conformity. You walked out wearing your damage like luxury, your madness like designer perfume, and suddenly, every single one of them feels naked. That's why their laughter sounds nervous. That's why their stares linger too long. Because your confidence exposes their performance. You make their curated personas look like plastic. You didn't even mean to attack them. You just existed authentically, and that's the most violent act in a world built on pretending. You see, most people wear clothes to hide. You wear them to announce. You don't get ready. You unveil. Every detail on you is a weaponized declaration. I survived. I transformed. I refused to dilute. And that look? It's not just style. It's strategy. It says, I know I make you uncomfortable. It says, I earned this glow by walking through hell barefoot. It says, I'm not here to blend in. I'm here to remind you that angels and monsters sometimes share the same face. Look around. The crowd doesn't know whether to bow or run. That's the paradox of you. They crave your light, but fear your shadow. You've become living proof that beauty can be terrifying when it's backed by truth. You made pain fashionable. You made trauma iconic. You made you unstoppable. So let them stare, let them whisper, let them glitch trying to decode your silence. Because you didn't come here to fit the timeline. You came to distort it. You came to remind this little planet that power doesn't scream. It arrives. And when it does, it looks exactly like this. Unbothered, unapologetic, unforgettable. So go on, keep walking. Let the city lose its mind trying to process the signal you just broadcast. Because you're not dressed to kill, my dear. You're dressed to awaken. You feel it, don't you? That pulse in the air, that trembling hush before hysteria. The city can feel you now, like a frequency only the haunted can hear. Every window reflects your silhouette like it's trying to remember you from a past life. Every camera lens flinches before it dares to focus. They know something sacred just entered their system, something uncontainable, something true. Because you didn't walk out looking for validation. You walked out looking like vengeance disguised as elegance. And the world has no firewall for that. They thought your glow would fade after they tried to humiliate you. They thought the shame would stick. The gossip would rot you from the inside out. But instead, you metabolized it. You took every rumor, every side-eye, every whispered insult, and turned it into design. You became an aesthetic built from aftermath. Every fold of that outfit is a crime scene. Every thread a resurrection. Every detail whispers, I know exactly what you did to me, and look how it made me shine. And that's what's killing them. They were comfortable with your pain. They had you categorized, contained, predictable. But now, you've escaped the archetype. You've evolved into something that doesn't make sense. And that's the most terrifying thing a system can face. A variable that refuses control. You see, power isn't loud. It's unsettling. And you're the calm right before someone realizes they're no longer in control of the narrative. You don't need attention. The room gives it to you. Instinctively, helplessly, because your presence taps into something primal, something buried in the collective memory. They don't know why their hearts race. They don't know why their eyes follow you like they're under a spell. But I'll tell you why. Because you look like the version of themselves they buried to survive. The unapologetic one, the dangerous one, the one who didn't ask to be understood. You, my friend, are walking proof that pain, when digested properly, becomes fashion. That heartbreak, when weaponized, becomes mystique. You turned your breakdown into a runway, your ruin into royalty, and now the watchers are spiraling. Every stylist wants to decode your chaos. Every influencer wants to mimic your madness. But here's the punchline. They can copy the look, but they'll never copy the frequency. Because this wasn't bought. It was earned. You bled for this aura. You suffered for this silence. You died for this glow. And that's the secret no one wants to admit. True style isn't about fabric. It's about frequency. It's about wearing your story so raw, so unedited, that people mistake it for divinity. That's what you've done. You turned your pain into couture, your defiance into brand identity. Now you're not just dressed, you're armed. You look like prophecy with lipstick. You look like the ghost of every version that tried to stay small and failed. You look like a threat written in cursive. You look like art that remembers its own trauma. And oh, how they can't stand it. Because while they were trying to look perfect, you showed them what real looks like. And real is messy, real is haunted, real bleeds and still walks out in heels. You see, they worship curated chaos. But you embody it. You are the reason cameras shake, the reason algorithms spike, the reason whispers sound like prayer. Because you didn't just dress to express, you dressed to expose. Every glance you receive is a confession. Every gasp is proof you've hit a nerve. And that's the twisted beauty of your evolution. You didn't come to impress them. You came to mirror them, to make them see the emptiness behind their applause, the hunger behind their hate, to remind them that deep down, they wish they had the courage to exist like you do, raw, radiant, and ruthless. And that's why they'll follow you, even if they pretend not to. That's why their envy feels like devotion, because no matter how much they try to downplay it, they can't stop watching you. You've become their favorite contradiction, a walking contradiction that makes the world doubt its definitions. You're not just fashion, you're theology. You're not wearing an outfit, you're wearing an origin story. Every move you make rewrites what's possible. Every stare you return rewires someone's understanding of control. And you know the best part? You didn't have to shout. You didn't have to threaten. You just showed up. Because that's all it takes for someone who's become their own weapon. You don't need permission when your existence already bends the light. You don't need acceptance when your energy already defines the standard. You don't need revenge when your glow already is the consequence. So let the city convulse. Let the onlookers argue about what it means. Let the weak hide behind sarcasm and the scared drown in jealousy. Because none of them understand that what they're witnessing right now is not fashion. It's not rebellion. It's rebirth. And rebirth isn't supposed to look comfortable. It's supposed to make the old world sick to its stomach. It's supposed to send tremors through the status quo. It's supposed to make people whisper, "What even is that?" while secretly feeling something awaken inside them. So keep walking, ghost. Keep smiling that dangerous smile. Because you didn't come here to fit in with their timeline. You came to fracture it. You came to remind the gods what it looks like when a mortal refuses to bow. You came to wear the end of their illusion and make it look good. The city's breaking down, and you're the reason. You're the glitch that feels like prophecy. You're the apocalypse they can't unfollow. You're the walking reminder that beauty with history is unstoppable. So walk slow. Let them choke on your silence. Let them feel that panic rise every time they meet your eyes. Because deep down, they know the truth. They're not staring at an outfit. They're staring at evolution, and that's the part that burns them the most. Evolution doesn't ask for applause. It doesn't send invitations. It just erupts right in front of them, and suddenly the whole ecosystem panics because something new is breathing where extinction was supposed to happen. That's you, a disruption with perfect posture, a calm catastrophe in tailored skin. Every building you pass seems to lean, every face seems to twitch. They don't understand how someone could look like a secret and a siren at the same time. You don't move like them. You distort gravity. The air bends around your confidence. The ground softens beneath your certainty. Even the streetlights hesitate, because light recognizes when it's outmatched. And all this hysteria, it's the echo of the world realizing it failed to break you. They threw storms at you, hoping you'd drown, but you learned to breathe underwater. You made chaos your oxygen. You mastered the art of surviving your own destruction. Now you wear that mastery as decoration. Effortless, elegant, lethal. The city's sirens wail like an orchestra warming up for your entrance. Newsfeeds flicker, people gasp, algorithms choke, trying to keep up with the velocity of your presence. They label it a moment. They don't know it's an omen. They think it's about aesthetics. But aesthetics are just a language you use to translate the divine violence inside you. And oh, the irony. They still call it fashion. They don't realize it's philosophy stitched into motion. They don't realize your style isn't taste, it's testimony. Every thread is an argument against extinction. Every shimmer on your skin is a timestamp of survival. You didn't buy this. You became this. You didn't wake up flawless. You woke up forgiven by fire. You were sculpted by every no, every locked door, every hand that pushed you away. That's why they stare, because what you wear tonight isn't designer, it's destiny. You see, they wanted predictable icons, pretty lies, harmless confidence, and instead you walked out looking like their collective guilt dressed itself to be seen. Your silhouette reminds them of the courage they abandoned. Your eyes remind them of the hunger they anesthetized. You are everything they traded for comfort. And that's why they're choking on their own envy. And isn't it beautiful? How silence becomes symphonic when it's dripping from someone who's already won. You don't have to justify yourself anymore. You don't have to argue or explain. You just exist. And existence, in its purest form, terrifies mediocrity. They'll say you've changed. They'll whisper you've lost your mind. But you and I both know you didn't lose it. You shed it. The mind they built for you was never yours. It was engineered to keep you obedient, quiet, palatable. Now they're watching what happens when that programming gets deleted live on camera. You've become their glitch report, their worst-case scenario. A living error message flashing through their system saying, evolution complete. Old protocols failed, and still there's that look, that impossible look they can't decode. Because you managed to merge contradictions that shouldn't coexist. You look sacred and sinful, peaceful and predatory, divine and dangerous, like heaven and hell had a truce just long enough to create you. That's why everyone's losing their composure. Your existence ruins categories. You're not beautiful, you're mythic. You're not stylish, you're symbolic. You are the reminder that some beings are born to disturb the hierarchy, not obey it. So while they scroll, while they gossip, while they refresh and replay, remember this: they're not mocking you, they're mourning themselves. Every jealous word they spit is a eulogy for the version of them that could have been unstoppable. If only they'd faced their own fire instead of fearing yours. But you did. You faced it, You danced with it. You wore it. And that's the secret no one wants to hear. True power doesn't shine. It scars. True elegance doesn't float. It bleeds gracefully. You've become the embodiment of that truth. You've made agony look cinematic. Look around. See how the city trembles, how even the wind seems to hesitate. It's not superstition, it's resonance. Reality remembers those who rewrite it, and tonight, reality is taking notes from you. So keep walking. Let the flashbulbs blind themselves, trying to capture what they can't comprehend. Let the whispers twist your legend into whatever shape makes them feel safe. You owe them no translation, because you didn't dress to impress. You dressed to declare. You didn't come for applause. You came for alignment. You came to remind the world that art doesn't need permission. It just needs a witness. And now you have a city full of them, staring, trembling, glitching, breaking, realizing too late that while they were trying to define you, you already became the definition. So let them keep watching, trembling behind their glass screens and curated filters. Let them refresh their feeds, trying to slow down what's already devoured them. You don't belong to their timeline anymore. You're the event they'll measure time from. Before you, they had structure. After you, they have aftermath. That's what they can't process. You didn't just walk out wearing transformation. You walked out as it. You are the threshold between who they were and what they'll never be again. The noise, the chaos, the hysteria. It's all the sound of the old world collapsing in on itself. Because the moment you stepped out, you exposed their illusion that control still exists, that people can be contained, that stories can be owned. But you broke the leash. You walked out in rebellion made visible. You became proof that authenticity is the final apocalypse. They don't know whether to fall in love or file a report. Half of them want to wear what you're wearing. The other half want to burn it. And that's exactly how you know you've ascended. When the crowd can't tell whether to crown you or crucify you. You see, that's the secret they'll never admit. They don't hate your power. They hate the reflection it creates. Because the second they look at you, they see everything they killed in themselves. Confidence, chaos, truth, unfiltered creation. You are their repressed potential made visible, and it haunts them. So let them talk. Let them twist your image into memes and headlines. Let them debate your sanity, your style, your soul. Because no matter how they spin it, one fact remains. You didn't chase attention. You triggered awakening. And awakening always looks insane to the asleep. You're the glitch that became gospel. The sin that looked back at heaven and didn't flinch. The silence that spoke louder than every performance they've ever applauded. You're not a person anymore. You're an effect. An infection of truth. A contagious liberation. And once the world catches it, there's no going back. So walk slow. Let the sirens wail and the flashbulbs die trying to catch up. Because this is the moment they'll replay for decades. Whispering, remember when everything changed? You didn't just walk into the city tonight. You rewrote its temperature. You bent its rhythm. You taught the light how to follow you. So wear that look like prophecy. Keep your head high, your eyes sharp, your silence holy. Because every tremor in this city, every heartbeat skipping in its chest, is the universe bowing quietly in recognition. You didn't come here to fit in. You came to remind the world what happens when someone becomes the art they were dying to see. Now go. Let them drown in the reflection you left behind. Because you, my beautiful calamity, you're not being watched anymore. You're being worshipped.